Hello everyone. So in the last session we solved some number series questions. Let's solve some more questions because from while loop all the logic building starts. So if you solve as many questions um, as you can, so to build the logic, it will be very easy to reach that point where you can easily build the logic, because logic building is a long process, so you have to practice a lot of questions. So um, here are some questions we are going to solve. Just think how we can solve these questions. Also, we solved some of the questions in the previous session. Okay. Now we have to use while loop to solve these particular questions. The first question is to print first and even values. We already know what are even values. So first and even values will start from 2 and it will end at 20. Okay, because everything is skipped by 1, so we need 20 values. So now how can we write a program for this? So first thing first, we need a variable that will start from 2 to end at 20. Okay. So let's take a variable I and give it a value of 2. Okay. So there are different methods to solve a particular question, and different like you can build a logic in many ways to solve a question. Okay, so let me build mine and you can build yours, and you can compare both the solutions. Also, you just solve every question again and again, so that you can find out on what other ways you can solve the particular question. Okay, so here we start with a variable 2, and let's uh, create a while loop here. So this I should work until it becomes 20. Correct. So this condition is 2. It will start from 2 and at 20. Okay, after that it should not work. Now we have to print if the value of I is if the value of I is even. Okay, so we already know we are starting from 1 and we are going towards 20. So what we can do here, just print the value of I. Okay, correct. It will print. Also, let me use an and here so that a new line will be skipped. So I'm giving 2 spaces here. Also, once 2 is printed here for the first iteration, we can increment this I with 2. Okay, that way the next value will be 4, the next value will be 6, the next value will be 8, like that. So it is a simple way to solve this question. So if you run this, you will get the first 10 odd values, even values. Okay, so let's move forward and solve this question one more time, but this time we are not incremented by 2. Okay, so what can we do? Let's suppose we are starting from 1, and we know that every time the value of I will increment it by 1 only. Okay, we cannot increment it by 2 because it's like a little illegal to use. We already know the value is 2 and we are incrementing it by 2. If we are getting the values 1 2 3 till 20, how can we build a logic so that it will extract only even values? So let's do that. Let me write I is less than equals to 20. Okay, so loop will execute like this, and we have to do something here. Now I'm creating a logic here. If I write if this I have to check if the I value of I is even number or not. So we can use modulus, easy. Let me divide it by 2 or create a modulus with by 2. If the modulus is 0, that means the remainder of the number when we divide it by 2 is 0, then it is an even number. Easy. Any number when you divide it by 2, it will give only 2 reminders. Either it will give 0 or it will give 1. Okay. If it gives 1, for example, the value of I is 7. 7 modulus 2 will give you the remainder of 1. 1 is not equals to 0. This condition will become false. So it will be true only if the value of I is an even number. Okay. So if it is even, the value of I should be printed, and we can use and here to give 2 spaces. Also, if the value of I is not even, so it will be odd. We don't have to do anything for that. I'm coming out of the if statement and just increment my I with 1. Okay. So consider this as we are getting the value of I from somewhere else, where all the value will come in place, and we have to extract only even values. Okay. So if you run this, you will get this, correct? So you can build multiple logics for the same problem. Okay. So you have to play around with different problems with different solutions approach. Okay. That way you will build the logic. Okay. So next question is we have to print first odd values. So let me use the second logic again. We already know how to get the odd values. Okay. So if I write like this, let me solve this by both the methods. So let me write the first method here. We will start the value from 1, and we have to print the first 10 odd values. So it will go towards 20, will print the value of I, and it should increment by 2. Obviously, if you run this and you start it by 1, and the first 10 odd values will be printed. Here you have to change one thing only. If you divide any number with 2, and if you get 1 here, that number is an odd number. Okay. So if you run this, you will get the odd numbers, first 10 odd numbers. Okay. So this is how you solve series based questions. Now move forward. Let's solve these 2 questions. We have to solve this one. Now, if you see this particular series, we have to print slash. We don't have to divide them. We have to print the slash. So to print it, we can just pass the forward slash in double quotes, and it will print the value. So also the first value in this series before the slash is just numbers, just a series of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the second one is the square of that number. If you look closely, the second one is the square of the numbers. Okay, so let's solve this. If I write I is equals to 1, I only need one variable here. This I should less than equals to 10. So this will run 10 times. What we have to do, we have to print the values. So we have to print like this. If I write print, we have to print the value of I first. After that, we need a forward slash. So you can use a comma, then you can use double quotes and give forward slash. Okay, so it will print forward. Give another comma and the value of I square. Second value will be I square. So it will be I multiplied by I. We don't have to increment this value. We do have to increment it, but not when calculating the squares. Okay, we just have to increment like this. Okay, so if you think about it, the value of I is 1 initially. 1 will be printed, slash 1 will be printed. Okay, in the next statement, the I becomes 2. It will rotate. 2 is less than equals to 10. Condition true. It will print 2 forward slash 2 multiplied by 2 will be 4. So it is working properly. Let me run this first. This will print like this. I have to give a comma and use an and here so that it should not change the line. Give 2 spaces like this. So now the problem with this solution is it is giving a space, an extra space. So now what happens when you use a comma by separating different variables or arguments in a print statement? This will by default give you a space while printing. Okay, so let me use again, but this time I don't want this comma to use this comma because it is giving an extra space. I don't want that, and it is not looking like the previous series that we want. So what we do, let's remove this comma, remove the whole value here. First thing first, we have to print I. Now I don't want a comma, so let me use and here and give a forward slash here. So it will print I forward slash I forward slash. After that, after the forward slash, there is no line change because we already changed the value of and. Now we have to print the square of I. Let's use and again, but this time we're not using slash. We're going to use double spaces. Okay, 2 spaces. So it will print 1/1 double space, 2/4 double space, like this. So if you run this, this will look like the same as previous one. Okay, so this is the correct solution for that. So every time you get the series that you don't want, just look at the output it is showing. So it is giving an extra space. Why it is giving the extra space? Because that's how comma separated values works. Okay, so let's move forward and solve our last question. That is, we have to print 1 + 2 + 3. This is our series. We have to print this series. Okay, let's start with I should be 1. While loop should be there. That will work less than equals to 10. Okay, we have to print 10 values. Now it looks like it is a simple solution to it. There's a simple solution to it, like we have to print I comma and we have to add a plus here. Simple. Okay, we have to increment these values. So if you run this, it will print the same series. Okay, it's look like it is right, but is it not? Let me run this. So it is printing everything right, but it is giving an extra plus here. Okay, why? Because every iteration, the value of I is 1. In first iteration it is 1, so it is printing 1 plus, then 2 plus, then 3 plus, and the end 10 plus. So we don't want the last value to be 10 plus. Okay, so let me use the same logic, but this time we are not solving this particular value or not using like this. We are going to use a if statement inside it. So our values are right until 9. For 10 it is giving error or a mistake. There's a mistake on the 10th iteration. So let me run the same logic for 9 values. So if I write I is less than 10, okay, so I is less than 10. If I write I is less than 10, what will be the output? This should print like this. This should print I plus again and again. So what will be the output? If the value of I is 1, it will run properly. It will print I plus. On the value of 9, it will print 9 plus. On the value of 10, this will be false. Okay, so let me use an else statement. When the if will false, it will jump to else and it will print the value of. Okay, this time we don't have to use a plus here on the 10th statement. Okay, so if you run this, the output will be this. Correct? So this is how you solve logic series based questions. So this is just building, we are building the logics for each questions. So over time we will reach that point where we are easily thinking of the solution. So let's move on to next topic and solve more questions with while loop. Okay, thank you.